Welcome in YouTube to yet another video, this time the early rankings for the quarterbacks. Let's get it. Alright guys, let's get started with this. Our number one quarterback this year, I believe, as of right now, would be Patrick Mahomes. And the reason why is Patrick Mahomes over Josh Allen. Josh Allen does have those rushing yards, but Patrick Mahomes has the consistency. The offense is great. Everybody's coming back. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Travis Kelce. He has weapons around him. And the consistency is what keeps him on my board at number one. Last year he had 658 completions, 4,839 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. He's ranking above the top all the time. That's what he does. Big games, consistent. It's very, very rare for him to have a lower game, which is why I'm definitely rating him at number one. Let's look at some more in-depth stats for him. Bad pass percentage, 18.2, which is some of the best in the league. That's the percentage of bad passes that he throws. Very little. His average depth of target would be 7.7 yards. That's a little bit lower. You know, he does like to throw those deep bombs to Tyreek Hill, but most of the time they're underneath Travis Kelce. That's going to give you those consistency of yards when you definitely have a security blanket like Travis Kelce catching them between 7 yards and in. Sack rate, 4.1, very, very good. Offensive line keeps him upright. He doesn't take too many sacks, and he knows how to throw the ball away. The receiver drop rate is 4.9%, which is about the middle of the field. It's kind of where the NFL is. He's got some receivers, I think, with long bombs to Tyreek Hill, maybe drops every once in a while. Travis Kelce drops every once in a while. But it's just the amount of volume that he has, his passing, is what keeps his numbers up there. And again, consistency is what we're looking for when it comes to our quarterbacks. Let's look at the 20-yard throws and the 40-yard throws down. 20 yards throws he had 58 last year, and he had 11 40-yard completions, so not too bad. 300-yard games, we ended up with 5 of those. He did have 2 400-yard games as well, so if you got Patrick Mahomes throwing 400 yards, he can definitely help you win a week. Now we're looking at the rushing yards. This isn't something that's going to be making or breaking. 66 rushing attempts, 381 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Again, Patrick Mahomes is the key to consistency. He does it year in and year out. And right now I have him above what my number 2 is right now. Let's talk about Josh Allen. Josh Allen could easily be the number 1 on this, but the thing that I look at him is I want consistency. Yeah, he has done it for a couple years, is good, but he's also had a year wasn't too good, right? The rushing yards is what keeps him at the top of the game. He had 646 completions, 4,407 yards, 36 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. The Buffalo Bills is very good. They play in a weaker division, so you know they're going to be doing a lot of positive game scripts. They're always throwing the bomb. He's got Stephon Diggs. He's got Gabriel, who came on late. Maybe even Beasley if he stays in free agency. Not sure if he was wanting to go or be traded or what the case may be. I can't remember if he's a free agent or wanting to be traded, but he's got some weapons there. He needs a running back real bad. Let's go over some of his issues. Bad pass percentage is 20.1. That's kind of in the middle of the ballpark. When you're looking at a top quarterback, you really wish he would be like in the 18 or better percentages, but he does kind of air it out. He had a bad issue when he was a rookie in his first year. He does a lot of errant throws, not very accurate, but he's kind of honed that in ever since Stephon Diggs came apart. He's a lot more accurate now. Average depth of target, a little bit more than Patrick Mahomes. Is at 8.7, which is definitely one of the betters in the league. Sack rate, 3.9, very good. Offensive line's going to keep him up, but the problem is that even when his offensive line breaks down, he has the legs to be able to get out into the open field and get some positive yards off of that. Receiver drop rate, this is kind of the issue, 5.6%, right? That's kind of the bottom portion of the league. He does have some issues with receivers not catching the ball, most likely because they say Josh Allen throws like a freaking rocket. So that might be where it comes in there. Let's look at the 20-yard throws and the 40-yard throws. We have 51 20-yard completions, and we have 8 of the 40-yard completions. We had 6 300-yard games, and he didn't have any 400-yard games. But here's where he makes his money: 122 carries, 763 yards, and 6 touchdowns. This is where he's going to get you those points. Again, Patrick Mahomes, you're probably seeing going around in the second or so or third round. Same thing with Josh Allen, right? So third, here's kind of a surprising one, but I think Matthew Stafford is definitely going to be my third. He's on a really good offense, and they love to air the ball out, right? Super Bowl champions, really good offense. He can't complain. 601 completions, 4,886 yards, 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. So he's somebody that you can count on week in and week out, and you could probably get Matthew Stafford towards the end or the later half of the draft. After round 8, you could probably find Matthew Stafford. Round 9, round 10 is where I would probably see him go. We'll see how it changes and fluctuates after free agency and after the draft, and kind of see where the ADP is going to be falling when it gets closer to the August time frame. But right now, I think he's going to be my third best quarterback. And again, that's why I say draft late quarterbacks. You don't want to draft your Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen in the third round when you're still trying to get your running backs and receivers, because you've got people like Matthew Stafford and these other people that are on my list that you can get later on in the draft and help you just as much as Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Let's go over some of his stats real quick. Bad pass percentage, 19.1%. It's kind of like in the middle of the pack there. Sometimes he's very, very accurate. Most of the time I'd say he's very, very accurate, but he does have some error throws, probably because he likes to throw off his back foot. He likes to make plays, right? He doesn't really like taking a sack or whatever the case is. Average depth of target, we're 8.9. That's really good. Like I said, he likes to air that ball out. Sack rate, 4.8%. Again, he doesn't like taking those sacks. He likes making a play where he can. Receiver drop rate, 4.5%. He's got Cooper Kupp. Him and Cooper Kupp made a very, very good connection this past year, and it worked out well for both of them. So that's definitely in the green. Let's look at the 20-yard completions and the 40-yard completions. We had 65 20-yard completions. We had 18 40-yard completions. 300-yard games, we had 7. Didn't have any 400-yard games. And then he had, which is irrelevant, 32 rushes for 43 yards and no touchdowns. So not somebody that's going to get out of the pocket and make anything happen. But the consistency and the amount of times that he's throwing deep and he's trying to get there to Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and the rest of his people, that's how it works. Let's move on to number 4, a young quarterback that I really like, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert plays for the Chargers. He's got a solid defense around him. He's got people like Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen making plays for him. He's got some good possession receivers that just can flat out catch the ball whenever they need to. The problem is that it's not always as consistent as you want to, especially with people like Mike Williams and stuff. Those big targets in the end zone, sometimes they just don't have as good as hands. But let's look at some of his stats. 672 completions, 5,014 yards, 38 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Then again, you can't complain. He's our first quarterback of the day over 5,000 yards. I mean, he's a young gunslinger. He's very good. You can also get him probably in the later bit of the rounds. You probably can get Matthew Stafford later than Herbert right now, but Herbert's are really good. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the numbers here. Bad pass percentage, 16.1%. He's very accurate. He's on target. That's definitely in the green. Average depth of target, we're looking at 8 yards, which is about average. That's kind of where they are. Anything more than that, the 8.7 and the 9s, that's where the elites are. He's at 8, so he's right there. Sack rate, 4.4%. Decent offensive line. I wouldn't say it's a great offensive line, but a decent offensive line. He doesn't get sacked very much. The problem is here, receiver drop rate, 6.8%, towards the lower point. Like I said, a lot of it's to do with the Mike Williams, things like that. It doesn't happen. And I think it's just him just kind of gelling with his receivers. It just wasn't working very well. 20-yard throws, he had 53 of those, 20-yard completions, and then the 40-yard completions, he had 15 of those. 8 300-yard games. He didn't have any 400-yard games, but he can definitely sling the ball. Let's look at 63 rushes, 302 yards, 3 touchdowns. Nothing to write home about, but he can get you a couple points there. Now, the last one on our list, let's go ahead and talk about Aaron Rodgers. All the news was on Aaron Rodgers this year. Where would he go? Would he go to Denver? Would he try to go somewhere to like New Orleans or Pittsburgh? But he ended up staying at home, which definitely helped with Devontae Adams. Him and Devontae Adams have something really, really close. His offensive coordinator is not there anymore. He ended up going over to Denver. But he is a gunslinger. He doesn't like handing the ball off. He likes just to pass the ball as many times as he possibly can because he's just trying to prove everybody wrong. 531 completions, 4,115 yards, 37 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions, which is crazy. Everybody else is in the teens at interception. 4 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers knows what he's doing. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's a reason why he's been the last 2 seasons, NFC Championship games, MVP seasons. He made the MVP. There's a reason for that. Aaron Rodgers is a stud, and he's not going early in the draft. You can probably still get Aaron Rodgers in the later part of the draft, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9th round, somewhere in there. Well, again, we'll look at the ADP, but let's go ahead and dig deep into a little bit more of his stats. We got 16.6% bad pass. That's kind of mediocre in the middle. He likes to sling the ball. Whether it's going to be a completion or not, he's going to try to fit it in the hole. You ever remember Brett Favre back in the day, what he likes to do, just kind of gun it in there? Aaron Rodgers does the same thing. He learned from Brett Favre. So he does the same exact thing. Average depth of target, we're looking at 7.7. That's definitely in the red, in the bottom half. He does a lot of dinking and dunking, but at the end of the day, you do see him go over the top. But most of the time, he's just trying to get that first down, get the completions, and keep moving the chains. Sack rate, 5.3%, definitely good. I wouldn't say that his offensive line's good by any means. It has gotten better last year, but it still has room for improvement. But that's still in the green. Receiver drop percentage, 3.8%. Well, he pretty much just throws to a Devontae Adams all day, every day, and he don't drop nothing. So that's always good to look at. Let's look at the 20-yard throws and the 40-yard completions. He had 55 20-yard completions, 10 40-yard completions, 4 300 games, no 400 games, 33 rushes, 101 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, he can get it done on the ground. He's been mobile mostly in his younger years, but now that he's getting older, he's getting more wiser and just throwing the ball or throwing the ball away. But that is my top 5, guys. I appreciate you being here for this short video. If you would, please just hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of information coming through. Hit that like button. Hit the notification bell. That way you know every time I post a video. Look forward to seeing you guys, and can't wait till the next one. See you later.